Cloud, and we are recording. So here we go. We're going to start this off. Okay, here we go, Tim. Welcome to another episode of Offsite Dirt. We are talking the Offsite Dirt construction series. We haven't done this in quite a while, so I'm kind of excited to bring it back to 2025. We are here with Tim. He is with B&T Manufacturing. They are an amazing facility out in Rapid City, South Dakota. I've known Tim for several years, so it's a complete honor and pleasure to have him. Thank you for being here, Tim.
Audrey, thank you very much for hosting this.
I'm glad you're here. I would love for you to give our audience a little bit of background about B&T, where it started, how you guys have transitioned from, years before to where we're going to be talking a little bit more today about the products and the things that you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So B&T was started about 8 years ago. I founded the company, and how we kind of got into it was that a very close friend of mine that was in construction in Southern California, and I was doing some small construction work up here. He asked me if I'd ever heard of these bathroom pod things, and I said no, but looked into it. And then he said, hey, and it just kind of progressed from there. He said, you think you could build yourself a small factory to produce these? And I said, yeah, well, I think we can. Um, Pretty much about 4 months into that, we built a couple of demos out of a small rental space that we rented, and got those down to Southern California for them to take a look at. And it just so happened the next one they had us do, they designed it, we built it, they brought it down, and we landed our first contract. So pretty short start, not a long existence of starting something from the ground floor and then actually getting into production about a year later on our first series of bathroom pods.
I love that. And I love that you took a chance on it and you kind of thought maybe this is an opportunity. Then you create the prototype and then you move forward. I think there's so many things that you guys do. A lot of our audience doesn't know about B&T Manufacturing because you guys are a smaller operation. You kind of run under the radar, but no longer is that happening. We know that you do steel frame, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We know
Okay.
you bathroom pods. You also have the H3, which is super spectacular. We're going to get into a little bit about that. And then really, I think the other thing that's pretty cool about being in the area and in the West, especially because I used to live in Denver, Colorado, being able to have greenhouses. And that seems to be a whole nother avenue that you guys are really exploring and really kind of branching into. So let's start with the greenhouse and then we're going
Okay.
to build our way back.
Yeah. One of the things that we did to start B&T and to build bathroom pods efficiently, we purchased some FrameCAD machines. So we were one of the very first for FrameCAD to have their 1 5/8 profile. It worked very well for us on some of those smaller profiles that you need to gain a little bit of space back in those bathrooms. So we brought that machine, and then 3 5/8, and then we have our 6-inch machine. Um, we decided, looking at the first time we rolled our 1 5/8 off the machine there, and we started looking at the frame and going, there's multi-uses for this. And we just kind of went in the direction of, man, we could build some sheds, we can build stuff like that, but it kind of had to be on a larger scale. And we really kind of said, hey, let's take a look. There's a lot of, we got asked actually by somebody that toured the facility if we could build one. And that's kind of what led to that very first one. So we're continuing to see that market grow. The machine does very well with making sure things are square. We've done enough homework on it now that we can just send out panelized greenhouse kits, and that do-it-yourself person can go ahead and get these stood pretty quickly. So we're excited about where this is going for sure.
Yeah, and I like it, and I love that it's sturdy. I love that it can be customized to several different sizes, which really
Mhm.
makes it unique, right? And like you said, I think people want more things that are efficient. Being able to flat pack a product over to a facility or to a location or a backyard, that's pretty cool. Not a lot of people can do that. And also, the quality of the product is precision, right? That's what these machines do. They're precisions in cutting and being able to build a product. So I see that being especially in the mountains. I mean, it's so hard to grow vegetables, as I know, and flowers, right? You need a greenhouse.
Well, I'll add a note here. We just built a 12 by 24 for a client, and one of the main things, they live in the prairie here. I mean, um, uh, near Rapid City, and they said, we've put one up, and 2 years later it was destroyed by the just the winds that we get
Yeah,
here.
I would imagine.
So we got that stood. They are extremely happy, so happy that they asked for 8 foot, 4 foot extensions, so to expand it out another 12 feet. So
That's
that's one of the
oh, that's a
things that
really
we
good
can do.
point.
Yeah,
That's a really, really
yeah.
good point. People don't think about that not only does the product ship and they're able to build it, but they can also extend and build onto it. That's fast.
It's exactly, and that was all in design.
Of
So
course,
make sure
of
that
course.
people can expand them if they liked them. The feedback has been absolutely phenomenal. Everyone that has purchased one from us just absolutely loves their greenhouses.
I think that's great. So let's kind of move into this H3 idea. Tell us how that whole thing came about.
Well, we bid on a large bathroom project for a company called Lend Lease back when they were in the business around 2018. Um, they didn't think we had enough experience yet, but they loved dealing with us. They loved the culture we had here, how we were real adaptable, flexible, work back and forth to get the end user. So they actually approached me with a RFP on a concept of how do we change the bathroom environment on work sites. And so together with the folks at Lindlease, we developed a prototype for them, ended up winning that contract. And that kind of started the whole H3 process. And that product now, as we're excited about because it continues to hit, it's starting to grow as larger job sites move away from chem toilets. We're not the only option, but we are a really viable option, especially if you can get the sanitary piece, because we do require water and a sanitary line in order for them to be fully functional. A little slow at first, but in the last year and a half, we've really seen a growth, and I've got a couple of three clients in the top 10 there that are starting to buy our products and put them on the job site.
I think it's wonderful, and thank God for the worker that's using those sites. When you're using chemical-free toilets and you actually also have lights that you can turn on that actually looks like a bathroom on a construction site, holy cow, that's like a dream, right? That's one of the things that we got to start looking at culture, taking care of our people on site. Construction sites are busy and they're cold and they're windy. And to be able to use the bathroom and feel relaxed and be able to have a space just to be able to do what you got to do, but be in an environment that makes you feel happy, that's a big win. That's a big win. And good for those huge contractors that you're working with, Tim, because one, it speaks to your customer service. And two, it also speaks to them taking care of their employees.
Absolutely agree 1,000%. We are kind of joking. The first batch that we sent out, one of the superintendents, I called and said, how are they doing out there? He said, well, this one actually had AC and heat. He said, we're noticing the break times are a little bit more.
A little bit more enjoyable. We're
Yeah,
finding out they're really loving the
yeah.
toilet.
So the fully configured bathroom comes with hot water, air conditioning, cove heat, hand dryer, soap dispenser, and
And it's movable, right? It's easy to
it
be
is.
to
It's
move.
portable.
And you can also put them on a trailer, right? And you can have
That is
six or seven of them or five of them.
that
So
is
it's
that is
smart.
correct. That is correct, and that's part of the appeal that we're starting to see too. Is that you could take a trailer, take them off the trailer, and actually start utilizing them on site. The design pretty simple. You can grab it, you can roll around. One person on a pretty good flat deck can take this H3 and roll it. If not, we got fork pockets, and also it fits in a lift, material lift. So that was part of the design process that we used to
That's
make it
fun.
work. We're on version 5 right now,
Okay.
all driven from customer feedback.
I love
And
that.
that's extremely important to us. What can we do better? What would you change? And we're real excited about the continuation of us seeing more and more of these being used on job sites.
I love that you're taking the ego out and you're listening to the client, right? Because we think that because we design something or build something, it's the best on the market, which is great. We all should be there. But a company that wants to grow and expand has to listen to their customers, and that's something that you guys do really well there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So let's talk into, we've got a couple more minutes left. Let's talk
Okay.
about these steel frames and your small tiny homes and how you guys were doing modular for quite some time. And now you've kind of shifted a little bit. Why don't you tell us about that?
We have. When we saw that the modular bathroom business is a tough business. It really, truly is. And we had decided, how do we survive? How do we keep going when you have those dips and in your line, that sawtooth effect of I don't have steady work. So the H3 helped provide that, but also I really started to focus on I started to see more and more interest in light gauge steel framed homes. And I hit the ground running, our team did, and we started finding some folks that were interested in what we do. And yeah, it's currently have a company called Mount Modular out in Idaho. And we basically are providing them all their frames for their manufacturing plant where they assemble them and then do the whole build out. So it has worked very, very well. That aspect of it. We have kind of laid ourselves into a position where now I know I can kind of, keep working on real hard, bringing all three of those avenues in for revenue here.
Yeah, it's key, and you're making great points. As anybody that knows that has run a factory or in a business, cash flow is key, and you kind of always have to be that next step. Where are we going? How are we going to build it? Where are we going to scale? And how are we going to perform? And the wonderful thing along the way, Tim, is that you keep creating these amazing relationships. Mountain Modular, the homes that they are designing are absolutely gorgeous.
I agree.
Those guys, they are running at a million miles a minute. I have to say that that is a really strong team over there, and they're very impressive. And for you to create that relationship and know that here's one area of the business or the build that you can actually help assist and create more efficiencies in, it only helps them scale too, right?
Absolutely. And we're continuing to look for opportunities such as those where when we're running our machines and we're doing what we do here, we get real, real efficient. And it's great to see. So we're producing probably about 2 home packages about every 7 days for them.
That's amazing. That's so great. Well, Tim, I have to tell you, B&T Manufacturing has really transcended since the time it began to where it is now. I love seeing your success. I'm a huge fan of yours. Everything that you keep building on, you keep getting better and better. And I think the best part about what you and the team does is you really take care of the consumer, the customer, the company, and that speaks volumes to the team that you have there.
I appreciate it. I've got a great team here. It's a truly a team effort. We consider ourselves a small family here, and we all like what we're doing, love what we're doing for a living.
That's right. That's what it's about. And you're in a beautiful part of the country. So if anybody was ever going to come out there, you could go to the Black Hills and see all the presidents that are inside the mountain and enjoy that, and then come to the factory and see you.
That would be fantastic. We'd love to do that for folks that want to see what we do for a living.
I love that too. Well, thank you so much for being on the Offsite Dirt Network. We appreciate your time. And if you ever need any information about green homes, portable bathrooms that are chemical free, or steel frame systems for your homes or your buildings, Tim's your guy. You want to maybe check him out. So that's the dirt on Offsite Dirt. Thanks again for being here, Tim.
Thank you.